Ah, Neo Geo, what an absolutely lovely game system. But just like anything out there, it does have its flaws. Chief among them of course being that most of the games are pretty darn expensive. Well, that's something I'm afraid I can't help you with. But when it comes to the system's other minor annoyances, I might just have the solution you're looking for. And that solution is the Neo Geo Universe BIOS chip, aka Unibios. If you didn't know it already, Neo Geo games are actually region-free. However, there will be some significant changes to the games depending on the region of the actual game system. Sometimes it's just something simple like the game's title, but it can also be a lot worse. Most famously, games with a lot of violent content like Metal Slug X here for instance will be censored when played on an American or European console. On a Japanese system the enemy soldiers explode into piles of blood and gore, but on a Western system on the other hand, well, I'll just say it looks like the enemy soldiers are bleeding milk and let you make up any alternative theories in your own dirty minds. However, the drawback to getting a censor-free Japanese system is that it will also turn the text in the games into Japanese. Now granted, most Neo Geo games don't really have a lot of important text, but come on, you don't really want to miss classic lines like this one from Magician Lord.
What imprudence, you human beings! Face your trial by God.
Or this gold nugget from Spanky the Dolphin in Aero Fighters 2. Well, this is where the Unibios comes into play. With Unibios installed, you simply need to hold down the A, B and C buttons while booting up the system. That will take you to this lovely screen. The first option here will let you freely switch your region between American, European and Japanese. And it also lets you select between arcade or console mode. I'll get back to that one soon. But that's far from the only feature of the Unibios. The next option is the software dip settings, which are basically like an options menu. Here you can change things like the number of lives, the difficulty level, or toggle the aforementioned censorship on or off. The options available vary slightly from game to game, but there's usually at least something worth playing around with. Those are probably the most useful functions of the Unibios chip for most players, but there are a few extra features as well. There's a CRC check to test the function of the ROM chips in the game cart. Probably not a useful feature for most players, but if you get the technical know-how to actually repair a broken Neo Geo cart, then I could see it being extremely useful. You also get this cool jukebox mode which lets you listen to the music from the game outside of the actual gameplay. Really nice if you want to rip a game's soundtrack without risking in-game sound effects getting in the way. And finally there's the PC to Neo option. This allows you to send data between a PC and your Neo Geo. Though I should mention you'll need to mod your system to use this feature. Again, maybe not useful for the average gamer, but for homebrew developers it should be invaluable. Now, as I said before, this chip lets you choose between playing the games in arcade mode or console mode. The difference here is that when playing in console mode you're given a set number of credits, like you would on an AES console. In arcade mode on the other hand you can use the select button to simulate putting coins into an MVS system, which means you can get as many credits as you want. Really useful considering how hard most of these games are. There's also a couple of other minor differences, such as console mode allowing you to pause the games. But we're still not quite done with all the features of this thing. You can access even more options from within the game. By pressing A, B, C and Start in Game you bring up this menu. Here you can activate various cheats like invincibility or infinite special ammo. You can also access the developer's various debug options if you're so inclined. And finally you can even patch your own cheats directly into the game. Kind of like how a Game Genie works if I understand it correctly. And there you have it, that's the Neo Geo Unibios. For any Neo Geo owner out there who doesn't already have this, I can't recommend this thing highly enough. You can get it for all three classic Neo Geo formats, AES, MVS and Neo Geo CD, and it really makes a night and day difference for your enjoyment of the games. If that's not enough, it's also dirt cheap, only €30 including shipping. This even includes free updates anytime a new version is released. The only thing you'll have to pay for is the shipping. Of course, if you're not good at soldering, you might need some professional help to get the chip into the system, but it shouldn't be much problem finding someone to help you with that. And it's well worth it considering how much it will improve your Neo Geo experience. Hopefully this video was useful for you. If you want a Unibios chip of your own, I've put a link in the video description. So take care, and I'll see you when again changes to hell.